今日もパーティクルを勉強しましょう。今日のパーティクルは destination particle ですよ。So far, we've learned several particles, so let's review them quickly. I explained the sentence structure X は Y です and introduced the topic marker は and this topic marker is applicable to both this and must sentences when there's a specific topic you wish to discuss. Additionally, for sentences involving actions, the direct object marker O was introduced to indicate the target of the action. We also covered the place of action marker de, which specifies where an action takes place. In today's lesson, we will add these particles ni and e to show the destination. Before diving into grammar explanations, let me introduce the words we'll be using in this episode. As we will be focusing on destination particles, the verbs we'll primarily discuss are those associated with movement, such as 行きます to go, 来ます to come. Now this is one of those irregular verbs, and 帰ります to return. Nouns, we'll be using these nouns. 財布 is something new, wallet, and お風呂 is a Japanese bath. 部屋 is a room. 僕 is a pronoun for I and generally used by males and carries a softer and less formal tone than 私. And then these are two katakana words, バッグ and レストラン. Alright, destination particles. There are two of them, ni and e. So look at this hiragana character. This is he. However, this is pronounced as e when it is used as a particle. Let's look at the functions of these particles. Both ni and e indicate the direction towards which something or someone is moving. For example, in the sentence, John goes to Japan, Japan is the destination of movement, so the word Japan is followed by either ni or e to denote this direction. While ni and e can be used interchangeably to show the destination of movement, there are subtle differences between them, and I will explain about that later. And this is the sentence structure which has a destination particle. 図書館に行きます or 図書館へ行きます. And since it's a destination particle, the verb it pairs with usually indicates the movement, such as 行きます to go, 来ます to come, and 帰ります to return to where you belong. Okay, let's go somewhere. How do you say I go to Japan in Japanese? そうです。日本へ行きます。日本に行きます。How about I go to school? How do you say that? 学校に行きます。学校へ行きます。それではセンテンスを作ってください。How do you say I return home or I go back home? うちに帰ります or うちへ帰ります。The difference between うち and 家 is like うち is more like a home and 家 is a house in English. Earlier, I mentioned that there are subtle differences between the particles ni and e. Although both can indicate a destination, they each carry a nuanced distinctions. Ni is used when the destination is specific and a noun highlighting the exact point of arrival. For instance, when you say, I'll go to Starbucks to meet up with my friends, ni emphasize that you're going to a specific location. In this case, Starbucks. On the other hand, e expresses a direction or path towards a destination, suggesting a more general directions rather than the precise endpoint. It implies movement towards an area or in the direction of something, like in birds flew towards the north, where e indicates a general direction rather than a specific destination. Because of how the particle ni works, it's not always the case that you can swap particle ni with particle e. For actions like entering, 入ります, or putting something into another, 入れます, you only use particle ni. For example, to say enter a room, we say 部屋に入ります. And not 部屋へ入ります. When talking about taking a bath, we say お風呂に入ります, showing that ni points to the action of getting into the bath or bathtub. Also, to put a wallet in a bag, it's バッグに財布を入れます. This shows that ni is for when you're talking about where exactly something is going or being placed. But when it's about moving towards a place, like with verbs to go, to come, or to return, you can use ni and e pretty much the same way. This shows how both particles can describe directions or reaching a place in those cases. Let me talk about these two verbs that we are learning in this episode, 行きます and 来ます. I know you know the meaning of these two verbs, but I want to clarify the usage of these verbs because they are a bit different between English and Japanese. Now, 行きます means to go and is used when someone is moving away from the current location towards a different place. So, for example, 日本に行きます. This person is not in Japan. He's going towards Japan. And that's the same as English. I go to Japan. He goes to Japan. And in this picture, the speaker is moving from where he is to the restaurant. So you say, レストランに行きます. We go to a restaurant. Again, the same as English. Now let's examine a scenario that highlights the difference in verb usage between Japanese and English. Mr. Smith is preparing to visit Japan and inform Miss Ueda of his impending arrival. However, since he is currently in his home country, the situation requires a linguistics adjustment. In English, you would say, I'm coming to Japan, using the verb come. In Japanese, the verb 行きます to go is used instead of 来ます to come in this situation. In Japanese, the direction of movement doesn't change. You're still moving towards the destination. You speak from your point of view and not listener's point of view. Therefore, the verb going, 行きます is used to express this action, emphasizing the continuation of movement towards the intended location. And from Miss Ueda's point of view, Mr. Smith is coming. So she would say, スミさんは日本に来ます。Just like English, Mr. Smith is coming to Japan. You use the same verb to come for both in English and in Japanese. The both verbs 行きます and 来ます are described by speaker's viewpoint, not the listener's viewpoint. So if I'm going towards the listener, I still use the verb going, not coming. And 来ます to come is only used to indicate the movement towards the speaker. So let's take a look at this sentence. スミさんは日本に来ます。When you say this sentence, where are you? You are in Japan, waiting for Sumi-san to come. How about this one? スミさんは日本に行きます。Where are you? You are not in Japan. You are probably standing right next to Sumi-san and then telling everybody that, hey, Sumi is going to Japan. I wish I could go with him. Let's try with this. So Michiko is going to Ken's house. How do you say this? Michiko is saying, ケンさんの家に行きます。いいですね。Let's figure out what Ken is saying about Michiko's coming. Ken would be saying, みちこさんは僕の家に来ます。そうですね。Alright, then how about Michiko saying that I'm going home. I'm going back to my house. So Michiko would say, うちに What's the verb to go back? 帰ります。そうです。帰ります。And when you get home, do you remember the greetings? You'd say, ただいま. And the mother would probably say, おかえりなさい in that situation. To ask a question about someone's destination, you combine the question word where with the particle ni. So how would you ask Mr. Tanaka where he's going today? 田中さんは今日どこに行きますか? いいですね。Let's try this question. Where are you going back to? How would you ask Mr. Tanaka where he's returning to? So you are going to use this verb and 田中さんはどこに帰りますか? はい、good job. それでは聞いてください。Please ask me a question. Ask me if I go to this place. いいえ、図書館に行きません。私は大学に行きます。Okay, then ask me about this place. いいえ、マクドナルドに行きません。私はハンバーガーを食べません。スタバに行きます。スタバでコーヒーを飲みます。それではマッチングゲームをしましょう。Select the correct verb to pair with the words in the left column. You only get to use the same verb once, so pay attention to the particles and then choose the correct verb so that your sentence makes sense. Please feel free to use the pause button while you solve it. はい、それでは最初の言葉いきましょう。うちで寝ます。I sleep at home. うちに帰ります。Yes, ni is the destination particle, so you want to choose the verb that has the movement moving towards somewhere. And then next one, レストランにはい、行きます。And then last one, レストランで食べます。いいですね。今日はデスティネーションパーティクルを勉強しました。皆さんは明日どこに行きますか？私は家にいます。私の猫は家に帰りません。I'm worried about him. I hope he will come home soon. それではまたさよなら。